I think maybe we can get started. I'm sure more people will join as we continue, because we've already waited for them for like 10 minutes. Okay, so today's discussion is about it's a roundtable discussion about women in power and energy. And today's speakers will be Sally Musonye and Mercy Chelagat, but she's not here yet. Chris, maybe is she here? I don't think I can see her.
No, but trying to reach her, see if can get her.
Okay, so we can get started. Okay. So today's speaker is Sally.
Sorry, why don't we wait for Mercy?
Okay, fine.
What do you think? Yeah, let's just wait for her, then we start together, please.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Mercy says he's trying to settle, so maybe a few more minutes. But I do hope everyone is doing fine. Maybe as we wait for Mercy, we can, I know I see here, and maybe we can try to interact, maybe know each other. Yeah, how we have been. Yeah. So maybe Leila, you can get that.
Chris,
Yes.
as we wait for Mercy, I have a proposal. There's
Yes.
a recording that we received like an hour ago
Yeah.
from the Women in Power representative for South Africa,
Yeah.
in Region 8. I've just
Yeah.
forwarded it to your email. So probably as we wait for Mercy, if you can access your email and play the recording, then we can be listening to it as Mercy comes online. Is that okay? I think that would be much better. Yeah?
Okay, sure. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now let me try getting back to my. Much welcome everyone on call. So maybe you can also share about this with your colleagues and friends, so that we can all get to benefit from the discussion here today. But Matt, thank you for joining us and sparing your time. Thank you. I guess I'm facing a few challenges. Hello, I don't think I have the access to the drive where the video is stored. So access denied. I have to request.
No, no worries. That's fine. Okay, we can just wait for Mercy.
Okay, sure. So maybe as we wait, I was suggesting maybe we can know each other. Maybe say name, what you want to, so that I can make this more interactive. Uh, Maybe you can start with you puppet. My pronunciation will be locked for that. But much welcome. I can maybe introduce yourself to us. Hello, you puppet.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, I can hear you from inside. Proceed.
Pardon?
I was saying I can hear you from my side. Maybe you can proceed and introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Supapet Pitang, student at Moi University, and I'm doing mechanical and production engineering.
Okay, pleasure having you. Newton, can say hi.
Hello guys, I'm Newton Kimandi. I'm a student in Moi University. I'm partaking industry engineering. So yeah, personally I've interacted with like physically with Chris. I've interacted with Leila. I've interacted with Berir. Then a fund of Sally, a fund of N, and a fund of Mercy, the lab. So the rest I'm hoping to like to know each other better during the interaction. Thank you.
Okay, much welcome, Newton. Hello, Conso.
Hi, Consolata, a mechanical and production engineer, Badia, a classmate to Leila.
Welcome. Hi, Anne. Hello, Anne. Gugi. Okay. Maybe Leila, hi.
Hi, my name is Zarina. I'm a third year student in the School of Engineering, and I'm excited for today's discussion. Thank you.
Welcome. Hello, I too for Kenya too. I think this must be Betty Tebet. Hello, Betty. I'm not sure.
Hi, it's Beryl Sabet. I'm a fourth year student at Moi University, seeking electrical and telecommunications engineering, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay, pleasure having you all. So I know I haven't given the chance to study, but she's one of our panelists. So she'll introduce herself to us later. But it's a pleasure having you all here and sparing your time. So my name is Chris Mojemi. I'm a final year taking industry engineering, also the tier 2 IEEE Moi. Look for good interaction. So I'll just give as we wait for Mercy, just call this to Leila, who is one of our first day ambassadors for this year. So as Moi University, as IEEE, we get to celebrate Power and Energy Day every year from back in I guess 2017. So we have a couple of activities that are planned. Hope want to see you in all those of our activities. Some will be physical, some will be virtual. We are meant to maybe help us uplift our skills as students, interact with the industry, and learn as much as possible. So this year we have Leila, who is one of our ambassador, and I, and Masinde. I don't see Masinde here. So Leila will be taking us through the discussion. But before we we proceed, I see we have an important guest here. I see Jaltu Malta. Maybe Jaltu, you can say hi, can tell us more about yourself. Yeah. Hello, Jaltu Malta. Indeed, you can chat. So look forward to interacting with you more. So okay, no problem, Jaltu. Also see we have Maureen. Maureen, can you say hi? Okay, we also have Gift. Hi, Maureen.
Hello.
Hi, are you audible?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. My name is Maureen Chepkemoi from TUK, and I'm glad to join this session and hoping to learn much. Thank you.
Okay, so I also see Gift Jedida.
Hello. Hi. My name is David. I'm a finalist at my university, taking electrical and telecommunication engineering. I also do solar design. So I'm here to learn to engage with all of you. Thank you.
Okay, nice. Uh, thank you, everyone. So maybe Leila, you can guide us maybe as we wait for Mercy. Well, Mercy has not joined. So Leila, you can say something. You can tell us more about the plan for first day this year as Moi University, and much welcome to Ayadra. We have Maureen from Joe. Much welcome. Much welcome here. I also see someone in here. Chaitani. Hi. Hello, Chaitani. I know Chaitani is part of the first day team this year. So the lead team this year with Mercy. Don't know if Chaitani can say hi. Okay, so I'll come back to that. Maybe Lily, you can take us through the plan for first day this year from Moi University.
Okay. So this year for PES Day, we will be having a lot of activities throughout the month of April, starting with today's activity. Today's activity is basically an engagement or like a talk. We get to hear from women who've made it in the energy and power sector, and we also we get to learn from them their journeys and how they got to where they are, and like how what made them stand out when they were, let's say, during their university days. um, Also, we will have a wide range of activities throughout the month, such as a solar visit, solar site visit. We've been doing a lot of solar activities, especially with smart kibanda projects that we are working on. In the spirit of that, we will be visiting a solar site. Posters and dates will be communicated before then. Also, we will have a physical meeting where we get to learn from people in power and energy, especially solar and other aspects of renewable energy. But for today's discussion, we will have Mercy and Sally. They are very great women in the energy and power sector, and they'll introduce themselves. I don't know whether Mercy is here, but uh, I don't think she's here yet, but maybe I think we can just get started. Um, I'll give a brief introduction of how we'll go through the session. So, oh, Mercy is here. Yay, finally. We will start with the speakers introducing themselves and telling us about who they are, what they do, and then we will continue with the rest of the discussion. So maybe Sally, you can go first. Maybe you can tell us about your background, your schooling, and literally the whole thing before getting here. Yeah.
Hi everyone. I hope I'm audible. I may be having some background noise. I'm eliminating that in a few minutes. But thank you very much to Leila, Chris, and your team for the wonderful invitation this afternoon in commemoration of PES Day. My name is Sally Musonye. I am an electrical engineer. I work at KPLC based in Kitui County. In terms of my education and training, I am a trained electrical engineer from the University of Nairobi, where I pursued electrical and electronics engineering. After graduation, I worked at Mabati Rolling Mills, that is MRM, for about 9 months before I exited to then join Kenya Power. I've been here for almost clocking 7 years now. Yeah, so that has been my journey. And my journey in the power sector began actually during my campus days to date. When I talk about my journey in the power sector, I'm considering both what most of us call heavy current or power systems, and also light current, or commonly known as telecommunications. I've worked in both sectors, which led me to now choose or decide that I'll maybe focus on power as my area of focus. So thank you very much, and it's really wonderful to be here and to connect with you all.
Okay, thank you, Sally. We will go to Mercy. Hi, Mercy. How are you? We've been waiting for you. Maybe you can say hi and tell us a little bit about yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Leila. Hi, everyone else. Hi to Sally also, my colleague. I hope you're all doing well. I am sorry for joining late. Was stuck in traffic. So, yeah, so my name is Mercy Chelangat, and an electrical engineer. I'm also in the power sector, though for myself, I deal with the small current side. Well, it's heavy, but the last mile bit of it. So we do have the national grid, and we do have the other distributed grids. And so I personally work as a business developer, especially for solar projects in off-grid areas. So I did study in Moi University. So I'm an alumni of Moi, like some of you. And yeah, so, I think there's really a lot to say, but just to thank the organizers for today's event. I hope we'll have a great discussion going forward. As we know, PES Day is a key activity in the PES calendar. So hoping that this month of April, through PES Day activities, can really bring us a lot of connections, make new friends, and also hopefully make new workmates. So yeah, I'd like to stop there now. I think we'll discuss more during the session, and yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mercy. I guess we will just get started. So like according to statistics by World Bank, like women constitute only 21% of the overall workforce in the energy sector in Africa. So like do you guys feel like what's your take on the number of women who are in this sector? Like, do you feel like maybe more women are needed in this sector? And how can that be done? Like, how can people interested in that sector be nurtured early? Maybe we can start with Sally.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with the statistics in the sense that in the power sector across Africa or even globally, there's low representation of women. And this can be attributed to a number of factors or barriers that challenge women in the tech space to participate in. However, on the positive side, over time, we've seen deliberate efforts aimed at promoting or enhancing the participation of women across the various tech spaces or even in the power sector. And within IEEE, we've had deliberate efforts to promote women engagement and participation in the power sector. So yes, the statistics are accurate. At the same time, it gives us an opportunity to make efforts to increase the participation of women in the power sector. And for the women in the power sector to continually mentoring and coaching and training, not just women, but also the men, because I'll give a practical example. In my case with Kenya Power, you realize that the technical staff within the company are quite elderly. And the young workforce, there's a very huge gap in terms of experience in the power systems between the elderly workforce and the young workforce. So it is upon us as the young people in the power sector, here I'll address both men and women, because in this sector you have to coexist. We form great teams if we coexist. It's upon us to mentor and to coach others to make the field in the power sector lucrative, appealing. And the only way we can do that is by embracing modern technology to modernize our power sector. And that will attract more young people and even more women into the power sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally, for that. Maybe we can go to Mercy. Maybe your take on the same. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I agree with what Sally has said, and especially the statistics, because we do see a gap, but also we have seen some considerable progress over time. And this is because we have seen some policies try to advocate for the inclusion of women. And so if you find that, for example, in rural communities where we work, previously women were only included in the say in the final process. They were not included in the design, in the feasibility process. And so this now made the engineering solutions that were made to not really fit what women were interested in. So by now starting to see some of the solutions that we can use to help improve women, then we have seen avenues of bringing them in to be part of the work that we do. And so actually just seeing that in rural communities, women are the major managers and the users of natural resources. And so this means most of them use fossil fuels. So by changing this narrative from the household, ensuring that women are taught about the different technologies that are available, training them to operate and maintain whenever there are any issues, and also just if it's a huge microgrid for the community, it could be nice to just engage the women in some of the activities that they would be interested in seeing, especially from a gender perspective. So I do agree that there's a lot that can be done. And so for me, I think we need to include their voices right from the word go, right from the design stage, feasibility, and even later to implementation. And even beyond that, to kind of ensure the system remains active and still serves the community. So those are what I have for now on that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mercy. Maybe what are the challenges?
Because you cannot do it alone. You will need them. And if you are to work with them, then it goes beyond your technical training into more of your softer side in terms of management and leadership skills that will enable you overcome this challenge of the quality of work that has to be done or how it is supposed to be done. And the final aspect in terms of a challenge that I encountered was working in rural areas. Working in the power sector is totally different when you're working in the power sector in the rural areas. What I mean is you could be based, let's say, in the major cities, but you occasionally go to the rural areas, maybe on field assignment, and you go back maybe to the major city. It's a situation where you are based there full time. And if you're from the technical space, you really appreciate things like internet, good connectivity, and the ease of movement of things and information. For example, even if you want to go for further studies, the access to a good university. However, when you go to the rural sector, to the rural area, these are the challenges that you have to deal with. You don't have a good technical university outside the major cities. You don't have good connectivity or even stable network. So you have a lot of time on your hands. At the same time, there's nothing much to do with it. So for you to remain at par with your colleagues, you need to put in an extra effort in terms of getting good connectivity, keeping in touch with your classmates, just to know what is happening around, what is happening in the sector, what is happening socially, because you do not want to disconnect socially with your classmates. And one of the things that I always tell people if they ask me, how do you navigate this? You have to be good. There's no shortcut. You have to be good at what you do in terms of your work. You have to do excellent work. You have to understand the work, and you have to be good in terms of people management and leadership. Because when you move out of the main centers, you realize that as a technical person in the power sector, both male and female, you may end up being the only or the few engineers. In my case, in Kitui County in Kenya Power, we are only 3 engineers. Stayed with 1, then went to 2, and now we are at 3 engineers. So you can imagine the kind of networks that you have is very lean. So for you to manage people and for you to manage yourself, you have to be good at it. And being good at it is not taught in class. It's taught through networking, it's taught through interactions and sharing of ideas, not just with your seniors, but even with your colleagues. If person X, maybe from Moi University after graduation, joins Safaricom, and you join Kenya Power, it's very important that you keep in touch with them. And if the other person maybe goes into business or even into the NGO world or even into business development like Mercy, you have to keep in touch for you to understand what is happening around you. So the only solution that I'd say for you to navigate the various challenges that you anticipate to face, similar or different from what we faced since we joined the power sector, is excellence. Excellence in terms of your work, excellence in terms of your delivery, and the willingness to work is what will set you apart from everyone else and is what will make you withstand the challenges comfortably and not even feel like they do exist because you'll be prepared for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Maybe for Mercy, I was going through your LinkedIn just before the meeting, and I realized that you've been leaning towards renewable energy, and about the smart IEEE smart village in, I think, Masai Mara. Maybe you can also mention something about what challenges you encountered and maybe how you navigated through them.
Yeah, so just before I go ahead, I'd like to agree with Sally's point that besides all the challenges that we face in the industry, really ensuring to know the concepts and knowing how to work around any challenges at the workplace is essential. So for me, it was especially difficult when starting out because the, so when you go to a workplace, you'll definitely be assigned a certain role, and you may realize that that may limit, say, your output or something. So for me, it was really just being told that you're not capable of going to the field and doing this work, and it was quite discouraging, especially because you've left school and the first internship afterwards and are really looking to engage in technical work. So when you come across these challenges, it may be hard to navigate around this, especially because you have to at times follow your bosses, what they say really. So over time, I started volunteering for IEEE, and I started becoming engaged actively and could now share some of the challenges with the people in industry. And then you realize that it's not a challenge you face alone. So, initially I did think that perhaps the world is against you or something, but I think it's all about also standing up for yourself. So if you're interested in a certain project, stand up for yourself and just say, I need to be part of this project. This is what I can contribute. For me at the time, I did not know. So I just left the company and started looking for another farm. And in the volunteering process, I came to find IEEE Smart Village. So when they were launching the project in the Masai Mara, I got an opportunity to do an internship with them. And then I was able to learn. So I did design their microgrid, depending on their solar microgrid, depending on the challenge, the power demands that they had over there. So finally, of course, the project worked, but what I have come to learn along this way is whenever you have the chance, feel free to learn from those people you look up to, message them. If many people are usually very willing to speak to you, share their experience, and even introduce you to other people in the industry who you may be looking up to. So for me, that was it. So really take advantage of every resource that you have. There are many resources. There are, groups like Women in Engineering, volunteer there, give back your skills. And as time goes by, you're able to note what your contributions are. And some of this, what you think are just volunteering, over time can build up to really make your CV stand out. So yeah, treat everything you do, whether it's for volunteering or work, as a job. Try to learn everything from it, and then yeah, I guess that's my advice regarding some bit of the discrimination that's faced, in the industry. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mercy. I think before that, I would want to ask something because you've mentioned something about volunteering and standing out and all. I would want to ask something about, like, when you guys were in your campus years, what activities were you involved in that sort of made you stand out or made you realize what direction you would want to take? Because, like, let's say in engineering tech, there's so many paths that someone could take, but then just getting to, how did you get to settle for this is what I want, and this is what I want to do? Maybe we could start with Sally.
Okay. Something that made me stand out and what made me realize what I want to do. So the thing that made me stand out when it comes to volunteering, I'll just say it's one word: consistency. I began being a member of IEEE when I was still a student at the university, when we were forming the IEEE student branch in general. Before now, we started doing the university student branches. And through that, after graduation, I transitioned into women engineering, PES, about 3 years ago. So in terms of volunteering, other than just being consistent, you need to find new opportunities. For instance, you'll begin as a student and maybe you're a member of PES. And then upon graduation, depending on the field that you will go into, you'll realize that IEEE has membership across almost all sectors, especially within Kenya. So it will be important that you maintain your membership and maybe diversify further depending on where you're working, because some might go into telecommunications. You can join Communication Society, Computer Society for programmers. I've heard of some mechanical and industrial and automation engineering students in the call today. There's still the control systems, there's signal processing. So depending on what you're studying, we have different societies in IEEE that you can join. So that is number one, to maintain your membership so that you can stay current in terms of technology, and so that you can also stay current in terms of maintaining your networks within the IEEE and beyond, because the network will grow definitely from your student members to now more professional members, and that is how your network grows. And that is how I have realized the value of my membership or my volunteering, especially within IEEE, to the level that I have reached at the moment. It's been, I think, should be around 7 years now, or more. 7 years of professional membership and 2 years of student membership within IEEE. So that consistency is what has given me more value in terms of volunteering for IEEE. And with that consistency is when as you meet new people, you see new opportunities, and it's when now you establish your footing and actually know what you'd want to be or what you want to do as a career. Now that will link up to the second part of the question that was asking if I knew what I wanted to do. When you're in university, probably this might not be very useful for the finalists, but for the other level students, make a point of looking at what you're studying. You know, different areas of engineering have different branches. Like I had mentioned, in electrical, you have telecommunications, you can go into computer and networks, and you can go into power systems, you can go into control systems. The same applies to mechanical. You can go into automation, you can go into motors and all that. You can go into mechatronics, depending on your areas of interest. And the same even cuts across civil and any other kind of engineering. Take the opportunity while you're a student to do attachments or internships in the different wings of engineering within your main sector. By that, what I mean, during my training at the university, I did 2 attachments. For your own attachment or internship is not mandatory, so it's up to you. So a word of advice that maybe might come in handy that has helped me, I went into the telecommunications sector at Telcom Kenya. It was good, but I didn't like it because I realized you have to keep reading. You know, doing the CCNAs, I don't know, the networking courses, and it expires after a year or 2. I felt it was too much of a hassle. Then I asked myself, now this Telcom, Safaricom, Airtel, where do they get their internet from? Then we have the main, you know, we have wholesalers and retailers. So you have the wholesalers of internet. We have companies like Teams, Seacom, Easy, and West Indian Ocean Cable Company, what is also called WIOC. So these are the things you learn when you are interning. Ask yourself, who is supplying my boss, you know, things like that. And that is how I went now to see if I go higher in terms of telecommunications, is it exciting? And I realized still it's not exciting. The higher you go, the more you have to read. And I don't like dynamism, especially when it comes to education. That is one of the ways that I identified within the electrical engineering space. I need to go into power because, and then through that, you ask, when you go back to school, please ask your classmates, where were you on attachment? What do they do? Do they pay? You know, it is very important so that you don't just go for free attachment and you need money. Because at the end of the day, whether you go for an attachment in that company or not, it's not a guarantee that they'll give you a job. So if you need money, please find out attachments that pay, because you could have companies that do the same thing in the same sector. One is paying and the other one is not. For instance, if you go into consultancy, they'll pay. But if you come to Kenya Power or any parastatal, they'll not pay. But it's more or less the same thing. Remember, you're there to learn and to meet your needs. So you ask your classmates where they were, what were they doing, what are the future prospects of that sector, is it exciting, what do you need to remain relevant? And when it comes to power systems, mostly it's about experience in terms of your experience in a particular area, be it design, be it construction, be it quality assessment, all those things, and certification. And certification, most of the times in the power sector, renewal is just paying your renewal fee. It's not about, once you do the exam, that is it. You'll not keep doing an exam every 1 year or every 3 years. So that is how I knew I'll want to go into the power sector. And also the passion, you know, like we all say, when I was young, of course, I didn't know I wanted to be an engineer. But now that built up into me now establishing myself into the power sector. And a final comment in terms of staying relevant now. Now you're there. You are in the power sector. Now you're there. You are in automation. You are in computer networking. You are into solar. So you ask yourself, okay, nimefika solar. What next? And IEEE actually played a role in me remaining relevant. You realize that they moved into smart cities, into smart grids, even before Kenya started thinking of interconnected grids. And when they were coming to do the MOU with Strathmore University for the interconnected grid with the solar supply, then you realize that they're actually ahead in terms of technology. So you use now your membership to advance your knowledge, not just by going to read, but also by knowing what is next. Because even before China did the 5G thing, IEEE was doing research and developing standards on 5G. So if you're someone who's keen on networking and following that up, you'll have known, not just going to it, but you'll have known, yes, 5G is coming, so that we are not thrown off guard when someone talks of 5G and you've been posted, let's say, to Kitui, where 4G is a privilege. So those are the things that have helped me in terms of knowing where I want to go, and most importantly, staying relevant where I am and always pursuing the next big thing. Now we are going into smart grid and smart cities. I'll start my journey there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. That was amazing. Maybe Mercy, we can go to you. What's your take on the same?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points Sally has said, and especially because you know, I think looking back when we were in campus, we didn't really know what we wanted. So it's really important that you try out different things so that you know which one you can really go for. I think also beyond that, it's essential that you build your skills in those different components of the syllabus or what the curriculum expects. That's because you don't know what kind of job opportunity you get afterwards. And at times, if you had not gone for internship or attachment on the same, then you may struggle catching up with work in the once you get to the field. So I know there is a lot of free time in campus, but you know, just seeing nowadays how people are becoming proactive about solving the different challenges through the different innovations, we are now seeing at least some activeness in this fields. So just depending on what you're studying that semester in school, at least always try to do something practical on it. If you have a software development related course, try to do something related to that. Make sure to always hone your skills and gain more than what the lecturer or the whoever was teaching you, you know, was passing on. So it, there are really a lot, and the industry nowadays is constantly changing. So you may realize that some of the standards that you learnt in school are getting outdated, and you have to keep up when you come to industry. So I think just treat life as a learning process always. Always be open to learn new things, whether within the interactions within class, with the interactions with your course mates, or even your fellow volunteers whenever you go for this some of these activities. So it's not enough to just like have the concept because we easily forget. If you try to do something practical, then that's something you can also indicate in your CV as part of what you did. And seeing that nowadays the essence is really on the skills rather than the course that you did, it's always important to at least have a practical aspect. So the benefit of volunteering is you can get access to some of these projects on a short time basis and actually learn about what is being done. So if you can get a chance, always take advantage. If you also have the opportunity to say lead these initiatives, you can speak to your lecturer or supervisor, try to see in what way they can assist you, because there's a lot of resources out here and people are willing to share that information. So the moment we keep sharing and learning, then we extend the learning even beyond just school, but rather we also have an impact in the community. And I think that's what really many people are interested in nowadays, that your work not only kind of just once you're done, it's like that. You also like to see what the community is benefiting, how lives change. And from there, you can then see over time, how can we also contribute to assist. So I think that would be my advice, like right from wherever you are, start with what you have now and always keep increasing and learning as you go along using the networks that you get. Yeah, so that's it on my end. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Before we continue, in case anyone has a question, you can just type in the chat section. They'll be covered before we close the session. Before I hand over to Beryl, Beryl is the WIE chair for Moi University, and she was co-hosting this with me. So I think I'll hand over to her. But before that, I ask one thing. Like about especially this is for Sally, especially like let's say for Kenya Power, because there are people in this discussion who are finalists and they're trying to like think about where to start out immediately after finishing school. So maybe could you mention something about let's say for example how you got your Kenya Power job, like you could talk some about let's say how to make your resume stand out, yeah, and basically how to make your resume stand out or how to prepare for an interview or something. Yeah, Sally, you can say something.
Okay. How I got my Kenya Power job and how to prepare yourself for employment. So first of all, for my case, when I was at Mabati Rolling Mills, Kenya Power did a publication or a call for, like they put out a call in the newspaper and they were looking for graduate engineers. And during that time, they needed about 300 engineers in a period of 3 years. So the year before and during my year and the year after, we did have bulk recruitment or yes, recruitment of 300 graduate engineers. So that is how I got in from the newspaper adverts. We did our applications, we did our interviews. So between application and your interview will take you about 2 to 3 months. And also between the interview and the date that you report, about 2 to 3 months. If you want to go into government or into any parastatal in the energy sector, after graduation, one key advice I'd give is go and apply for your graduate engineer membership at EBK. All you need is your certificate. So once you've graduated and you have your certificate, please go and apply for graduate engineer membership, especially if you want to go into maybe Kenya Power, KenGen, and the likes, because the requirements are actually pretty simple. They just say KCSE this grade, of which if you did engineering, you would automatically qualify. Then they'll say a degree in electrical engineering and registered as a graduate engineer by the EBK. The same applies to the Ministry of, let's say, Energy, Public Works, all these government entities. So if you don't have that certification or you don't have that receipt to show that they have your application and you are waiting your member number, then you're automatically disqualified. So that is one area that maybe you can look into immediately after graduation. So after we applied and we were interviewed, that is how I got into Kenya Power. In terms of preparing yourself and having your CV stand out, it is what you are all doing here today. By becoming a member of IEEE or Rotaract or KMUN or YMCA, you know, all these activities outside the classwork that are available within the university, that is the thing that will make most of us or you stand out from the other applicants. most of us who are graduates of engineering, regardless of our fields, we are always too serious with our academics and we forget to join other activities or even sports or games within campus because we want to excel. On the contrary, when it comes to work, it's not about excellence only. You know, by you being a member or volunteering or being in a sport, it communicates leadership, it communicates teamwork. So interviews nowadays, people will not ask you, tell us your strengths, and you say, I'm a team player, I'm a good communicator. They just ask you, for instance, what challenge have you had when you're in campus and how did you solve it? And these challenges you'll experience, let's say if you take up leadership, for instance, what is most relevant at the moment is like the IEEE, where some of the challenges could be, let's say, attendance in organized events, financing, getting speakers. How did you solve them? And that shows that you are a go-getter. That shows that you're someone who is a problem solver. So don't expect to use adjectives to describe yourself. And the same applies to your CV. Under hobbies, this is where adjectives are mostly used. Please let us avoid reading and writing and football. Let us be specific. Is it fictional writing? What kind of writing? Is it abstract? When you're talking of you can write research papers, what kind of research are you into? So those are the things that can make your CV stand out by simplifying the adjectives and putting action into the words. So what I would say is, in summary, as you prepare for your interviews and as you prepare your CV after graduation, let us put things that we do to put in summary what we say, like your volunteer experiences should be part of your CV. Your community service engagement should be part of your CV. And hobbies will just be like 2 or 3. So that's what I would maybe say as what has advanced when it comes to job application and the employment network nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maybe Mercy, you could mention something about Sally has said something about volunteering and all that. Mercy, maybe you could say something about volunteering within IEEE or just volunteering in general, because I can see you've done a lot of that. Maybe you could mention something about that.
Okay. So, like with volunteering, I think the most important thing that we need to note is there needs to be a trade-off. Since you are working, and are not getting any money or direct, say, cash from the same, then you need to see another way through which this can benefit you. And this is from where you see that you are giving your time to do something, and therefore the effect in a way has to trickle back, and it can trickle back in kind, or it can trickle back directly. I have seen some people get their projects that they just started within campus funded through IEEE. So you can receive seed funding through this, and you have to kind of push yourself. So you have to be innovative about why you're volunteering. And just seeing that IEEE could be a technical organization, try to also collaborate with other volunteering organizations. If you're a member of Rotary or Rotaract, take advantage of the network that's there. If you're part of a youth group, which is a civic youth group, or it's a church youth group, all these kind of groups and gatherings can give you something that will enable you to grow in a way. So always look at volunteering as while you're giving back to the community, there's also something that you need to gain from this process. And besides what we have mentioned, with Sally, of putting this in your CV, it could be that at the end you have learned how to manage a project. It could be at the end you've learned how to build a small solar microgrid. So these small opportunities that you use to push yourself can act as a baseline for you to build a portfolio for yourself, such that when you go to industry or any other institution, could be academia or research, then you at least have some data, some information that you can provide that will benefit these other people, whether it's the community or the organization. So the aspect I think I would like to encourage most of you to volunteer on is like societies like SITE and the Special Interest Group. You can actually get pre-seed funding for your project and now start to continue to grow from there. So be proactive, push yourself, but also make sure that what you're volunteering for is in line with your passion, and that at the end you will gain, and it's not only your efforts that are being spent or time being spent. So always make sure that you are deliberate with your volunteering, know what you want to get from it, and know what you want to give, so that in the end both your wishes come to pass. So that would be my, and yeah, just to reiterate what Sally has said, it's through consistency. So I remember I met with Sally at some point and we were just having a chat, and you can actually learn from anyone from IEEE because they have a wide array of experiences. So I learned some very key aspects of volunteering through Sally. So don't also feel shy to reach out to anyone who you think could be of help to you, and think we can help each other grow in that way. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think I'll hand over to Beryl to finish up on whatever I've left out, and also to handle the question, to lead in reading out the questions that are in the chat section so that they can be handled. Beryl, you can take over.
Thank
Beryl.
you, Laila. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Laila. That was a very good session. Now I can just read the questions that are on the chat. Mm. So there's a question from Anne Gogi. She's asking, what are the main differences in terms of compensation, work-life balance, career growth and exposure between working in the private sector versus the public sector stroke parastatals? I think this was directed to Sally. Sally, if you can answer that question.
Yes. So in terms of private and public, compensation in the private sector, it is low at start, but increases with your experience as you grow. In the public sector, it is high as you start and is maintained almost at the same level for a long time. So that can can give you some sense of starting point if you'd want to start either in the private or in the public sector in terms of compensation. In terms of exposure, it depends. with the company now is that this is regardless of public or private, because different employers have different forms of promoting employee engagement and development. The only difference is that when it comes to the public, there's a lot of politics. Let's say if it is about training or opportunities, a lot of politics because of the numbers. But in terms of the private sector, this is your work and you are the one to be trained on this, and the politics is limited, mostly due to the number of employees engaged in an organization. In terms of work-life balance, I'd like to say, actually, there is no there is no work-life balance. It gets to a point that you'll either give more to work and alternate that, and at some point you give more to your personal development and to your life. So it's a very delicate balance, especially when it comes to the technical people, both male and female. You go to work and you leave site very late. You know, that is regardless of the gender. If you leave late, you've left late. So when you leave site very late, you have limited time, let's say, with your family and your loved ones and so on and so forth. So you have to choose a balance and say, maybe I'll dedicate, let's say, weekends to family only and not do anything work or anything volunteering or anything, you know. So it's not a clear balance, but it's how you will manage it and how you will plan it. And that is where the rubber meets the road. Because as you get more personal responsibilities, you realize that one side will tend to overweigh the other. So just establishing that level of comfort is what most people will term as work-life balance. I hope I've answered all the aspects of that question. Yeah.
Yes, you have. All the
Okay.
aspects have been handled clearly.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah. So we can move to the next question from Terry. She's asking, how do you handle the pressure of women in engineering being too masculine? And how are you able to maintain your femininity while still making big moves in this male-dominated sector? Then she gives more clarification. In class, the males are more than women. I see males gravitate towards each other in terms of studies and opportunities. How should one deal with such? Yeah, that's a very good question. I think we can move to, we can put this question to Chela. Yes, Chela, if you can try handle that question.
Yeah. A little, I guess. Well, the pressure is really there, and I think what we have been told over time seems to stand true, that you need to be you need to be really strong as you go about the this career life right from school, especially as you note with the very with the big gap. But what I would like to encourage is that try to see the fellow men as a resource, because I think from what I have seen, if you're able to show your if you're able to show your usefulness or your resourcefulness as part of a team, whether it's you're still in school or whether you're in the field, then that is the only way you're gonna be regarded as part of the team. So really, I do like to encourage the collaboration way, as opposed to saying, oh, we are the only ladies, so let's set ourselves aside. It's usually better to work in sync with the guys. They usually have some key resources that you as a person can learn from. And then the other aspect is for you now to also show what your resourcefulness is, and then try to be a part of these groups of theirs. as most of us may know, really, just like in school, when we have these discussion groups and all, that is the better way that we understand. So in the industry as well, we have this department, and you could be put in a department where you are the only lady and you have to stand up for yourself. You have to be well versed with everything that is being done. And so this really requires a proactive and confident outlook. Because at times you may be put in situations where you think you will not handle, or say, for example, when you're put in groups, usually because of the low boy to girl ratio, you'll find that you may only find you're the only girl there. So I do advise to be confident in whatever you've learned. Don't be afraid to speak it out, even if it's wrong, because if you don't share it, then you won't know it. You won't know if it's really right. So it's by sharing, getting to hear the different opinions. I know this is very difficult, but I also like to kind of advocate for accept being wrong sometimes. It's the only way we learn. If it's not for the mistakes that we have made along the way, then we could not have been able to know that this is the situation that you can come across and this is how to solve it. So feel free to make those mistakes as early as you can, because that's the only way you learn. Otherwise, if you're afraid and you go to industry, you'll find people stepping all over the knowledge you have, not really regarding you in a key way. So I think it really requires a lot of determination, waking up every day and telling yourself that you can make it, that you're really in the right place. And so don't doubt yourself. Maintain that self-esteem. And I know this can be thrashed often at any time by experiences that we come along, but always wake up with the notion that, today is a new day, I can do something new. So let's not hold ourselves to what has happened in the past, some mistakes perhaps, or things that up to date kind of threaten our confidence, but rather learn to get through them, work through them, accept that we'll always have critics all everywhere we go. So just be confident, and as long as you're doing the right work for yourself and I think for the company, then you should be in the right direction. Yeah, so that's my advice on that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Mercy. I don't think there are any other further questions on the chat, considering the discussions that we've had. But to ask one more question, both of you hold some leadership positions in IEEE. Maybe if you can just talk about leadership in general, your experience, your challenges as women leaders in various IEEE communities. We can start with Sally.
Thank you. So when it comes to leadership in IEEE, personally, I've not had challenges because IEEE is a bit, okay, I wouldn't want to use this word, but I'll use it, but in a positive way, in the sense that it's a bit civilized, where opportunity is given to all. So when it comes to leadership in IEEE, my request would be, let us all volunteer for different positions within IEEE. And through when you just begin with one role or one opportunity, the different committee members or volunteers that you will work with are the ones who will now build the momentum for you to get access to more opportunities within IEEE and even grow in terms of leadership. What I mean by this is that right now we are volunteering as students. After graduation, you will volunteer as members. That is, if you maintain your membership, no, you volunteer as members. You take part and maybe you nominate yourself or get nominated for various positions, maybe the EXCOM or different opportunities. We have conferences that are being planned, even regional conferences, let's say like Power Africa. God willing, next year Kenya will be hosting Africon. When you volunteer for this, that is where now you meet the other IEEE members from other countries, other sections. And through this, now you're able now to grow now even to a regional role, because they are when you're there is when you see the opportunity. And when you see the opportunity, you'll reach out to the person who's available or present at the moment. So when you volunteer in IEEE and maybe you meet, let's say, someone from the US, someone from the Middle East, someone from Europe in a conference, and maybe they are leaving a role or they know an opportunity within different roles in IEEE, they can ask you if you're willing or if you're available to be part of the team in this particular area. So that has been, or that is how you can grow in IEEE in terms of leadership. When there are calls for, let's say, ambassadors or volunteers or elections, you nominate yourself or ask someone to nominate you. And the others are through appointments, like I've mentioned, through continuous engagement with people across the section or even other sections. And in terms of growth, IEEE is pretty much straightforward. If the opportunity is there and you're available and you're ready and willing, take it. And I'll encourage all of you, please, we don't have limited opportunities. Actually, there are more than most people can handle at any given time. So when people request for opportunities or for mentors or for volunteers or mentees and you're available, please dedicate your time to be part of the team, because we have opportunities that are growing every day, especially now that we are having the Africa Council and the Region 8 now key focus on Africa. We have opportunities coming up. So that is how you can grow in terms of leadership. For me, my experience has been amazing in terms of a leader in IEEE, and I look forward to keep at it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Those are very good insights in terms of volunteering and leadership as women in IEEE. Maybe Stella can add on that in terms of her experience to the leadership positions that she's holding at the moment, challenges, insights, and also maybe some of the awards or maybe accomplishments you've had as a leader.
Okay, thank you, Beryl. So, yeah, like Sally has said, really with IEEE, there are endless opportunities, and I think we had even kind of mentioned prior that at times you kind of force yourself to take up an opportunity because no one wants to take part. So there are so many opportunities that everyone can benefit from. So my advice, besides being consistent, showing up every day, you could realize for a committee you could need say to volunteer 4 hours, 2 to 4 hours in a month, which is reasonable. So you can always find something that your time that you have can allow, and you can be able to grow just by being there every day, sharing your thoughts and opinions. And like Sally said, we do have the Africa Council right now. And as we may all know, the IEEE community is really focused on reaching those areas that are underrepresented, and Africa is one of those areas. So there is a lot of opportunity. Always go out there and share what you have done. For example, for me right now, chairing PES Day, I just started as an ambassador in 2018. And all I did was launch the Renewable Energy for Kids program and take a few people to the uh, electric vehicle center by OPBus, the workshop there. So some of these things that are in line with emerging technologies, you do see a lot of them in IEEE. So if you have some knowledge on the same and it's local, this is unique information that perhaps only you could have. So share this information out there. They're always happy to hear the information. At times we also realize that some of the magazines we get, if you try to look at that information, most of it is kind of based on the Western world. But slowly by slowly, we have seen people like even in Kenya who have done some really great innovations being featured in some of these global magazines or blogs. So whatever little you may have, it could be a really great piece of information that can make you a key person, a key contributor to that particular society. So, sign up whenever you see all these opportunities to call for, say, being part of a committee or anything. Please sign up. You never know where the opportunity will take you. And there has also been a lot of focus to say now promote the diversity and inclusion in even communities such as women in engineering. So whenever you have the chance, sign up for these task forces. There's also one for PES or IEEE in general called the Climate Change Task Force. So if you would like to be part of it, always don't ignore your e-notices. They always have really good information that can help you be part of a certain committee or community. Yeah, so really, I think there's a lot of opportunities, and I believe each and every one of us here has the opportunity or the right qualifications for either of this. And if you always kind of get a negative response, don't stop there. There could be another position that could really be fitting for you. And you can always feel free to ask the Kenya section leadership to kind of write a recommendation for you so that you can really get that position. So yeah, if you also would like or are interested in some award, also reach out. I thank Sally because she's here and she was able to guide me to some award by women in engineering. And it's a really great award because some of the work you think you do for no reason actually counts a big deal. So if you see an award that you think you can qualify for, then feel free to reach out to us. We can be your recommender or your reference, and we are here to help you really in any way to ensure that you get accustomed to this IEEE life. And if you also want introduction to someone, say someone you've seen their work and you're interested in working with them, reach out to them, whether it's on LinkedIn or wherever. The moment they see you're an IEEE volunteer, which is the other, I think, prestigious bit of this name, the IEEE, you can make a lot of wonderful contacts by people you didn't even know just by telling them you're a member of IEEE. So yeah, that's my advice on that. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Matthew. That was very insightful. And I think from now on, everyone who's an IEEE member and doesn't have the IEEE tag on their LinkedIn profile should probably do so because it's more advantageous for you as a volunteer. Yeah. I would like to ask Chris to give the final remarks. I can see we've gone 7 minutes past 4:30. Yeah, so Chris, can you just give the final remarks and we can close the session after that?
Okay, Beryl. Thank you very much. I did enjoy the discussion. Very quite well. I see. I would like to give someone a chance before we do close. I noticed just me and Newton who are of the Zenda here. So I don't know if there is anyone else. Maybe I'd like to hear from Newton. Maybe you can comment on the discussion.
Yeah, so thank you, Chris. The discussion was very insightful. It was very opening. Yes, so I've learned a lot of things actually. These are things that hadi mtu anaweza kaa even almost a month hadi a year na usijue. They are very insightful. Like, of course, they will help most of us. The information will help most of us in the future days. Yeah, after we are through with our studies. Yeah, after we get that degree, like what's the next step that we are supposed to take? Yeah, we have got that advice, like what are you supposed to do after you're through with this, from people who have had such experience. So it was a great experience for me. Yeah, the conversation, I've learned a lot. So I'd like to say thank you a lot, um, to 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 those who have really enriched us with the information. It was very insightful. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome. Sally, you had this up. You wanted to say something?
Yes, Chris, I wanted to mention that Child 2 is the PES Kenya chair, and maybe to request if maybe she can say something if she's out of the noisy place. Thanks.
Okay, I think Chato dropped some few minutes ago because I cannot see her on the call. But I would also like to recognize Marceline, who is also an PES ambassador. Yeah, so it has been a pleasure for the discussion. I personally have been an IEEE member for, so this is my 4th year I was banned here, and I really interacted with Sari and Mercy. Like to say, I've learned a lot from them. I look forward to learning even more from them. So that was quite interesting. For us who are in their final days of campus, look to apply more of that as we transition to the job market. But thank you very much, Sari and Mercy, to avail your time to come and share with us. Yeah, and I also like to appreciate all the participants who joined this call. My hope is that it was informative for you too. I like the consistency. I noticed we started with 15 members, we are 14, so meaning that we all enjoyed that. Yeah. So I also enjoyed the mode of the discussion. No PowerPoints, just conversation, one-on-one, getting to understand more in terms of ways. Yeah, so that was quite interesting. So maybe I don't know if anyone else has anything you would like to point out before we do officially close out. Maybe anyone like to even say hi to us. Okay, Sawa. So thank you very much, everyone. I would like to wish you all a great evening and a good day ahead. Can live under your own pressure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.